With CreateStudio, making professional videos is easy, even if you've never done it before. In our intuitive drag and drop editor, you can import media, add text, images, and audio, and enhance your videos with motion graphics, text presets, and much more. Effortlessly animate any layer in just one click, using our built-in motion presets. You can also create your own custom animations with advanced options and custom easing on our full-feature timeline. Build your own character explainer videos with premium 2D and 3D characters. Simply select a character, choose an action, and animate. Adjust the size of your video to fit social, mobile, and other popular formats. Once you're ready, publish your video in your preferred resolution. Creating incredible videos has never been easier. So whether you need a promotional video, a social story, or a gorgeous character explainer, CreateStudio is the perfect tool for both entrepreneurs and creators, giving you the flexibility to simply create. So what are you waiting for? Make better videos faster today at CreateStudio.com.
In this video, you're going to learn how to create a new project. So first of all, simply click on Create New Project, give your project a name, and then you can select a resolution for your video. Now if you want a vertical video for mobile stories, simply select Stories. If you want a square video, select Facebook and Instagram, or you can select any of these other 16:9 standard ratios. You can also add a custom resolution by simply adding in your inputs in these fields here. Now you can adjust the background default color over here. Let's say we want to make it white, and click on Create Project Now. Okay, so this is the editor, and on the right hand panel you'll be able to see our project settings. Now to open these settings, if they're not currently open, click on the settings icon over here, and you can go through and adjust the resolution again if you want to adjust it. Let's say you want to make it a Facebook video. You can change the project name. You can also adjust the default background color. And we've got advanced settings over here, so things like autosave. So if you want your project to autosave, simply turn it on. You can adjust the time frames that it saves upon, so let's say 2 minutes. You can adjust the default background color of the canvas, so if you want to make it lighter, this is a really helpful tool. And you can also adjust whether you want to turn on or off the guidelines on the canvas on the timeline, as well as the snapping on the timeline and on the canvas. So if I turn those on, like so, and I'll add a shape. Let's make the shape black. You have to see when I come close to the lines or other objects, you can see that the guidelines and the snapping is in place. So those are the main project settings inside CreateStudio. In this video, I'm going to run you through a quick basic outline of the timeline. So to add any media to your timeline, simply drag and drop it onto the canvas, and you'll see that it gets added directly onto your timeline. So we can then go through and zoom in and out of the timeline. Basically, wherever your time indicator is where the zoom will start going into. So you can see it zooms straight into where your time indicator is. So if you position that to the start, it will zoom in from there like that. Okay. Also over here, this is our layer. We can go through and rename this layer. So it says, call this one logo, for example. I can hide the element from the canvas. I can then go ahead and show that. I can also lock the element so that now I can't select it. And this is great when you've got a whole bunch of elements on your canvas and you just want to work with certain ones without having them moved if you already add your element in place. You can also hide your element from the timeline. And this is really helpful. Let's say, for example, you've got a whole bunch of layers. I'm just going to add a whole bunch of layers on here. So let's say you've got all these elements here and you've made your scene and you're happy with them, but you don't want to edit them anymore. So what you could do is you could either lock them all and then hide them, or you could just simply click on this icon here, like this, and select the layers that you want to hide from the timeline and click on this icon here. And you can see now that it's hidden these layers from the timeline, but it's still visible on the actual video. And this is just to help you to keep your timeline more neat and compact and organized, okay? So if you want to see those layers again, just simply click on their icon, and if you want to unhide them from your timeline, just deselect those ones, and you'll have to see you've got them back here again, okay? So those are the main features in terms of operating the timeline. You can also drag your media, so if you've got images, you can go ahead and drag them, as long as you like. Resizing them basically like this. You can simply click on it and move it as well into the right order that you want it to appear on. And for your layers, you basically have an extra layer down here. If you drop it down, you can add animations, okay? So you can add custom animations or motion presets that you can add, for example, slide right, like this. And you can adjust the duration of your animation by simply clicking and dragging like that. So if I delete this one, right click delete, I can go through and add a different animation, let's say scale, and I could then go through and make it smaller. You best see it animates like that. So there's another video where we go through more advanced animations and really go into animations, but this is just a quick demo of that. Okay. Also, if you've got all these tracks open, I'll just unhide these ones. So often, like when you're animating elements, you can see like we've got different tracks open, and it's quite big. Okay, so what you can do is collapse all these tracks by clicking on this icon here. Just collapse everything, and especially when you're trying to reorganize or rearrange things on the timeline, it's easier to drag and drop elements like this when the layers are collapsed. If they're all open like this, it's a little bit more difficult to position things. So if you want to move things up and down, just simply collapse it and then drag it like so. Okay. And yeah, that's about it in terms of the timeline. If you want to see more advanced options and animating, then go on to the next video and we'll go through animations on timeline. In this video, you'll learn how to import media into CreateStudio. So on the left hand side, you'll see a media panel, and if you click on the plus icon, you can bring in any media into CreateStudio. So I'm just going to select everything here and click on open. And you'll be able to see that we've got an SVG. This one's a compound shape. We've got a video. You can also preview videos up here. This one's a SVG with multiple layers. We've got image, logo, and another image. So what you can do now to customize your content is simply drag and drop it on the canvas over here. Now, because this is a compound shape, it means that I can go through and adjust the color of this SVG, and you can go through and select gradients, radial, linear, or just a simple fill color, and really customize your SVGs. And over on the right panel, you can go through and obviously add up some really nice animations like so. Okay. Also, we've got this graph over here. So this one's a SVG image with multiple layers. So if I drag and drop this one over here, you see we have the options to import it as an image. If I do that, it will just be one flat image like this, and you won't be able to adjust the colors. If I go through and grab it again and import it as elements, then it imports the 3 separate elements, and we can go through and customize the design and add animations to them separately like so. Okay, so that's how you import media into CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to work with characters inside CreateStudio. So first of all, on the left-hand side panel, you'll be able to see we've got the studio builder over here. And what I can do is go over to backgrounds. I'm just going to go grab a background first of all to start my project. So I'm going to click on this gem, just drag and drop it onto the canvas, and you'll be able to preview your background. Okay, so you can go into the background by double clicking on it, and you can see the separate elements over here. And if you want to delete something or move something to a different position, you can do that. And they all have preset motion animations on them, so you can adjust them if you want it as well. You can just drop down over here and change the motion preset, or you can delete it. Okay, so that's the backgrounds. I'm just going to go back out of here. And what I'd like to do when you're creating your videos and you've got your background already set, a good thing to do is just simply lock the background, and that means that when you're adding other elements on top, you won't be able to move the background, and it's kind of nice to have it all set in place like that. So let's go and grab a character. So I'm going to grab this girl over here, and just simply drag and drop it onto the canvas. You can position it as you like. You can make it bigger or smaller. It's really that simple. So I'm just going to drag her over to the start, and you can see if I just play this through right now that we've got the background animating in, and we've got her in an idle kind of position. For these animated characters, for the supreme ones over here, these ones, they basically start in an idle position and then they do the action and they go back into the idle position, meaning that you can add multiple actions and it will work in a seamless kind of loop. So let's go ahead and create some actions. So first of all, if you haven't seen the actions, what you can do is simply drop down this over here, and you have two different lines. The first one is actions, and the next one is for animations, okay? So let's go ahead and work on the actions in this demo. So simply click on the action. Once it's selected, you'll be able to see a drop-down menu, and just drop it down and you can select an action for your character. So let's say we want to go with wave, okay? And then what I can do is if I want to add another action, just simply click on add action, and let's go with dumbbells, okay? So if I preview this, you can see we've got the wave action. It goes back to idle and then into the dumbbells and then back to idle, okay? So that's how easy it is to go and work with your characters. If you wanted to actually go through and you know, make her way from the left hand, what you can do is simply flip her, and you can see that it makes the actions now all go from the left hand side like that. So yeah, you can play around with these kind of things. So that's just a basic overview and intro into working with characters. In the following video, I'm going to show you how to create some animations as well with the characters, like things like walking from a certain position to another, and some other helpful tips. In this video, I want to show you how to edit templates that you bring in from the template library. So this template here has 5 shapes or so in the background. It's got a hand with a phone and some different elements on here. But right now, as you can see, you can't actually select the shapes, you can't adjust them, you can't select the hand. And the reason why is because we've locked them. And the reason why you can't see it right now on the timeline is because they've been hidden, okay? And we do this to make it more simple for you to edit them, elements that have animations and that don't really need to be changed. We basically lock them. But if you do want to see them and change them, you can often click on this icon and you'll see the hidden layers, okay? So currently, you've got the shapes locked. So if I unlock the shapes right now and I double click on them, I can go in here and I can make changes. I could change up the colors. Let's say I'll make this one white, for example, something like that. Then I could go back out of here into the main project. You can see it's been instantly updated like that, okay? Also for this this hand, I can go through and change the video. So if I just select the video here and click on replace, I can go and grab a different video. Let's say, for example, this one here. And if I just play this through, you can see I've got my nice video screen added in there like that. Now another thing that you can do, for example, if your video is longer than the one that was previously, or you wanted to resize and make the video longer, so what you could do is just drag out these text layers to make them the same length as that video, like so. But then I also need to go through and unlock this and make sure that this is the same length as well. And I'll go through also with the audio, I'll probably make it the same length, and I'm going to unlock the hand, make it the same length. Now with these shapes, because they're in a group, we need to go into the group, and often by default you'll see like just the layers here like this, okay? So you can see the shapes, but you can't see the actual other elements on the timeline. So it will make it a bit hard to actually resize to see to the same length as duration as the other elements. So we've added this option to show all layers. If you left click on there, now you can see all the layers outside of your group, okay? So you can see kind of a faded example. And what you can do is if I just zoom in a bit closer, I can go through and resize these layers, and with the timeline snapping and the guidelines, it really makes it easy to just go and drag out all these layers and make sure that they're the same duration as the entire video. So if I go back out of this now, you have to see that the shapes have been put into the same size. And the same thing I'll do with this App Store button. I'll just go through and drag these all out. Just make sure that this is selected so that you can see all the layers outside of it, okay? So if we go back over here, now you can see that everything's been updated and made the same duration as the video. I could go through and collapse all these like so. And again, if I wanted to hide some layers, let's say I wanted to hide the audio track, and I just simply click on this icon. Now there's only 4 tracks on the timeline, but everything's visible on the actual video. So those are just some helpful tips in terms of editing. When you bring in some different templates, you may not be able to find certain elements. So just simply click on this icon. And again, when editing things, it's often quite helpful if you just, for example, these shapes, just maybe lock them and then they're no longer in the way. You do the same thing with the hand, and certain elements that you don't need to basically edit anymore, just lock them, and it just makes things a lot easier. Okay, so that's how to edit templates inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to animate any element with just a click using our motion presets. So right now I've just got a shape here, and if you select your element, so whether it be a text layer, an image, a shape, or a video, you can simply select your layer and click on motion. And this is where we've got our motion presets, where you can basically select animations that have already been created for you, and you can add them to your elements and quickly animate anything really fast. So let's say, for example, we want to create a zoom animation, and I'm going to go with elastic scale up. I just simply click on it to preview, and if I want to add it, I simply click on the checkbox, and that adds the animation to the element. So it's as simple as that, just like that. You can also select different animations. So let's say we want to go with something like a bouncing ball. So I could go to slide, and I could go to bounce slide bottom, this one here. If I apply this one to the shape, I can click and preview this, just like that. And you basically select where you want the animation to end. So let's say you want it to end at the bottom, like that. You can also adjust the animation settings. So with your animation selected, you have different types of settings. So this one, I've got it selected. I'm going to click on the settings icon here, and you'll have to see I've got different options. So I can either remove the fade so that it doesn't fade in. I can also adjust the starting position. So whether I want it to start off the screen, I can just bring it up. I could also choose if I want to start over, certain different sides horizontally as well. So I'm just going to start it like this and click on play. And you see I've got a really nice looking bouncing ball type animation. And you can do this with like a tennis ball or a football, different types of basketballs and things like that as well, and create really cool animations. So once you've got an animation like that, I'm just going to bring this, make it a little bit shorter, and I'm going to go select an out animation. And so it's going to bounce in like this, and then we're going to make it maybe slide, or maybe even distort. Let's go with distort like this, so it's kind of going to squish itself down like that. Okay, cool. So yeah, you can go ahead and just preview all these animations. We're also constantly adding new animations in here in different presets, so you're going to have a massive library of animations. And if you want to learn how to create custom animations, go on to the next video where I'll show you how to custom animate any property inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to create some basic custom animations inside CreateStudio. So you can basically animate anything using motion presets, and these are the most simple way of animating. So you can simply select, for example, slide right, and you just simply clicking on these presets, you can create really cool looking animations. But what we're going to do is show you how to create more customized animations to your own liking. So let's go and delete this one. And what I'm going to do is basically drop down these properties, and you'll be able to see we've got this little plus icon. So if I click on that, it means I can add a custom animation. So once I've done that, then I can go through and basically choose the properties that I want to animate. So let's say I want to animate the scale. I'm just going to click on scale right there. And if I just go through and adjust the start point, we can create an animation. So at this point in the timeline, I want my shape to be this size, but I want to make it a bit like 0 basically, and to kind of scale in. So let's go to settings, and I'm going to bring it down to 0. And you'll be able to see when I play this through, now we have that animation. So we could adjust the duration, just drag it out, and you've got that animation like that. And what you can also do is click on this icon or right click on here and click on easing. And you can go through and choose a different easing type. So we've got linear, which is just like a straight line basically. And we've got power one. These have like an easing to the beginning and end if you select both, or just to the end if you choose out. You've got an overshoot one, an elastic one, and different types of kind of presets. So let's just choose back for this example. And if I just go and play this through, you can see how it kind of comes up, goes past the size, and then comes back down to the size that we set. So just like that. Now what we can also do is, if we want to adjust some other properties with this animation, we can right click on it, go to animation properties, or just click on the settings icon as well. And let's say we want to also animate the rotation. So I'm going to select rotation, and what I'm going to do is basically rotate it maybe 90 degrees like that. And if I play this through, you can see we've got this really nice looking rotation like that. And we can maybe do 90, minus 90 would look pretty cool too. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, like that. Now I might adjust the size, make it a little bit bigger. So I'll just bring it up and I'll center it like that. And let's preview this one more time. Okay, that's looking really good. So let's say also we want to create some other animations. We can just click on the plus icon, and maybe this time we want to adjust the position. Okay, so let's go and click on position. And what I'm going to do is come to the end where I want it to end, and I'm going to just move this maybe back off the canvas like so. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Okay, cool. So maybe with this one, it's quite an abrupt kind of start. So what I could do is just adjust this easing and go with both. So it adds easing to the in and the out of the animation. So let's just preview that now. And that looks a lot better. Maybe I'd adjust the speed to make it a little bit longer. Like that, okay? So that's just a quick overview of using custom animations. You'll be able to check out some more advanced tutorials on creating advanced animations with our custom presets. One last thing that I would show you as well is the rotation point over here. So by simply changing the rotation point, right now it's rotating but at the middle of the object, so you can see it rotates in like that. But I can also go through and, for example, select the bottom corner, and now when it rotates, you'll see it rotates from this point here, okay? So you can create some pretty cool looking animations just by changing up the rotation point. Like that. So that one you'll probably want to move it across a little bit more. And there we go, we've got a really nice looking animation. So yeah, have some fun trying that out. And yeah, go and watch some other tutorials showing you more advanced things if you want to learn more about creating custom animations. In this video, I'm going to show you how to work with groups and layers outside of groups so that you can basically match up your audio and other elements outside of your group. So let's just preview this quick video and it'll give you a better understanding on how and where you can use this feature. Cool, so as you can see, we've got really nice kind of stomp style music, and the text and the elements and the images and things like that are all basically in sync with the beat. So what we've done is basically enabled a feature where you can create groups of elements. So instead of having a million elements on your timeline and it really being really full and where you can't actually see everything, you can basically group elements into scenes, and you can rename them as scenes, for example, or group, or whatever you want to do there. And if we just go into this group here, you can see I've got my layers that are inside this group, okay, over here. But what I want to do is basically match up my layers with the audio track. And if I go back out of here, you can see I've got my audio track here, but the layers, I can't actually see them because it's not inside that group. So what you can do is basically go into your group, and then you'll see this option over here where it says show all layers. So if I just turn that on, I can now go ahead and actually see the audio waveform for the entire video. Now this is really powerful because you can just zoom in like so, and you can basically match up certain things with your beat. Okay, so if I go back over here, let's go back out of this one and go into another group where we've got text, so we can make it a little bit more obvious. Okay, here, so we've got, this one's got some nice text coming through, and you want to make sure that it's in the same beat of here. So I can just go into this group, and you can see that the show all layers is turned on. So now I can see these layers inside my group. I've got 4 layers, and these are basically 4 text layers. So you can see now, if I just zoom in a bit closer, I can basically match up this layer to make sure it's exactly the same time with this beat. Okay, so if it's about here, you can see it starts. The next beat was about here, so you can see I've aligned this one up. And this one as well was, the main beat was about there, but let's say I want to make it so that it adds about there. I can just go ahead and select this layer and then just simply drag it so that it starts at the same time as that beat. Okay, and if I just zoom out of here, if I just go back out of here and just preview that, so you can see how quick and easy that is to really, you know, make sure that everything's simple on your timeline, and you can actually match up your audio, even your, if you've got a voiceover narration and you're saying certain things, you can create groups and then just basically click on show all layers, and you can see the audio track, and you can align your text with your voiceover inside your group. Okay, so it's just a quick video showing you a quick tip on how you can really use groups or scenes to basically match up your text, your images, your animations with your overall audio track or voiceover narration. Hey guys, we've got a really exciting new update inside CreateStudio, and that's our text-to-speech creator. So once you update to the latest version, which is 1.1, you'll be able to see on the media panel this icon here, text-to-speech. So simply click on that and you'll see a pop-up, and here you basically just add your text. So say, hey, welcome to CreateStudio, like so. And then you can select an accent and also a voice. So let's say, we just select Dave for example. You can adjust the speed and the pitch and click on generate. And then simply click on preview. And you've got your text-to-speech voiceover. And when you want to add it to your media library, simply click on this button here. And this will add it to your media library. So if I bring this up again, what I'm going to do now is just type in a French text that I got from Google Translate. And what you can actually do is select a different language. So we've got English, obviously American, British, Australian. We've also got Spanish, German, French, and other languages down here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select French for this one, because I've got it in French. And then I can go through and click on generate and click preview.
Bonjour, bienvenue dans CreateStudio. Profitez de notre nouveau créateur de synthèse vocale.
Great. So as you can see, we've got a really nice French speaking accent, and we've got different ones down here as well. So let's say I want to go with, let's say with Jacques, so we can get a male French voice.
Bonjour, bienvenue dans CreateStudio. Profitez de notre nouveau créateur de synthèse vocale.
And this is really powerful, especially if you want to start marketing into other languages. You can basically, you know, create, the same video that you have and just use these text-to-speech languages, and you can start to market to a global audience, especially when you're doing different ads targeting different nations. You can have specific landing pages, and you can basically, use these text-to-speech voiceovers to communicate to people in different languages. So I hope you enjoy this. Again, once you add your script, just simply click on import to media library or add it into your media library. So I bring this one over here. And to see this update, what you'll need to do is basically close the app and then open the app again. And after about 5 minutes or so, it will basically download the latest version. And when you go back into the welcome screen, you'll see a pop-up saying, download is ready, and click to restart, and it will basically restart it, and you'll see this option to it with the text-to-speech. So if I just grab this text-to-speech, drag it onto the timeline, I can go through and click on this drop down to see the actual waveform as well. And if I click on play,
Bonjour, bienvenue dans CreateStudio. Profitez de notre nouveau créateur de synthèse vocale.
You can see I've got really nice looking text-to-speech voiceover. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you like it, make sure to add a like on this video and add a comment below. And we look forward to making more amazing features inside CreateStudio. In this video, you're going to learn how to animate a character in and out of a letter inside CreateStudio. Let's have a quick preview. Great, so as you can see, the character pops out of this O and it looks really good. It's really eye-catching, and this works really well with O's or D's or letters where there's basically a gap where you could basically make the character go in and out. Okay, so to do this, you basically want to add your text layers, and you can see I've created a nice text animation here using the custom animations and basically animating the scale to bring it up like this, and then also the letter spacing to make it close in like that. And there's a tutorial in the 2-minute tips playlist which shows you how to do that. So let me go and show you how to add this character inside this O. Okay, so let's go and delete this. And what I'm going to do is go to the studio panel, and I'm going to grab this character and just drop her over here. And I'm going to go and select waving for this one. Okay, so we've got her that's going to basically come in and wave through that gap. So what I want to do is kind of scale her down and make her a decent size for that O. I'm also going to rotate her so that she kind of comes in on an angle. So it comes through like that and she starts waving, okay? So what we're going to do now is find out whereabouts we want to add her. So the text kind of stops animating about here, so I'm going to bring her to start in about this point. And then what I want to do is grab the rectangle tool. So grab the rounded rectangle one, this one here. You can also create your own kind of custom shapes if you use Adobe Illustrator, and bring in like a SVG file so you can make it exactly the shape you like. But let's go and use this one for now. So what I'm going to do is just hide Michelle over here on the timeline, and so I can see the shape a bit better. I'm just going to zoom in a bit better, and maybe you could change the color, make it something different so you can see the shape. And what we want to do is basically match up the shape so that it kind of curves around at this point here. So I'm going to go to advanced settings, and I'm going to make the radius about, let's say about 1.3. Let's have a look at that. Okay, and what I want to do also is just zoom in out a bit more and just also scale this up a little bit, like that, so that she has space to do her wave. Maybe we could just drag it out a little like so. Okay, so now we have basically a position that we want our character to appear in, and outside of this position she's going to be masked so that you don't see her until she goes through this into the shape space. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to basically right click on the character. I'll just turn her on over here so you can see her, and I'm going to right click on her and go mask with shape. Cool. So as you can see now we've got her and she's inside the shape. I could just kind of position her, maybe make her a little bit smaller so she fits better inside this. And what I'm going to do as well is just mask the shape, lock the shape so that now I won't move the shape out of place because I've got the mask in the right place. And again, I'll make her a little bit smaller. You can adjust the mask obviously and make the mask a bit bigger if you like, so maybe we could do that actually. Just select the mask and drag it up a little bit like so. You can zoom in and just make sure that the mask is the right kind of size and position for you, like this. Okay, and that's looking pretty good, so I'm pretty happy with that. So now what we're going to do is create some animation so that she pops in and out. So to do that, we've got her now like just waving like this, but we want her to come in and out. So what we want to do is add a custom position animation. So just drop her down and click on animations on the plus icon and click on position, and then just maybe drag it out so it's about 1 second long or so. And what we want to do now that we've got her in this position, she's at the end of the animation, she's here, that's looking good. What we want to do is just basically move the time indicator to the start and then just basically move her down. So we're going to lock the shape layer mask again and just bring her down maybe like so that she slides in like that. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. Maybe we'll drag it out a little bit more like that so it goes like this. And what we can then do is right click on that and then duplicate reverse, and so that we create the same animation that she goes, now she slides back down like that. Okay, and you can adjust like the easing Let's say we just want the easing to be at the start. We can do that and just drag this out like so. And let's just preview what we've created so far. Cool, so that's how you go through and create that nice effect. Maybe I'd move her down a little bit more so that she's completely out of the O, like that. And we've got a really nice looking character kind of animation that you can add to your text, to your logo, to really make it look a lot better, and a really engaging effect that you can do for your videos. So have a go with that. Make sure to add a like to the video if you enjoyed it, and leave a comment below. And yeah, have fun creating. In this video, you're going to learn how to create a really nice looking motion graphic using the arc shape. So as you can see, we've got some circles just kind of animating in and animating out like that. And you can use these as motion graphics on different slides. Maybe have just one circle over here and over there, and just add some nice style and design to your videos. So let me show you how to do that. So basically you would go through, and I'll just bring it over to the start, and click on the shape tool, and then you'll see this arc shape. Okay, so simply click on that and it will bring up this arc shape. And this is a really easy to use shortcut that we've created for you to make these kind of animations. So what I would do is basically go through on the animation settings, or the properties of the shape, and I'm going to bring it up to 0. So you can see you can adjust this angle of the shape. So let's just bring it down to 0, and I'm going to drop down the arc animation settings and simply click on the plus icon to add an animation, and then select arc angle because we want to animate the angle to create that animation. So I'm going to select arc angle, and you can see that at 0 seconds that the angle was 0 because we set it to 0. So if I go over now to the end of the animation, I want to adjust the property to make it 360 so that it animates in 360 degrees. So simply just drag it across, or you could add 360 in the input, and you can see we've quickly created a really nice looking arc animation. Okay, now you can also right click on this and click on easing, and you can adjust the easing of this animation. So let's say I want to make it both, so that it animates in with an ease and also at the out with an ease, and let's just preview that, and that's looking really cool. And one other thing you can do is basically duplicate this animation so that it animates around and then it animates back out like that. Okay, so to do that, simply right click on it, duplicate reverse, and we have that animation all done and ready. So let's preview that one more time as well. Cool. Great, so now that we've got this created, this first animation, we've basically done our animating, and we can just go through and duplicate layers and create different style, basically animation. So what I'm going to do is just change the color first of all. I want to make it maybe a red color, like so. And you can also adjust the size of this, so let's make it a bit bigger like that. And what I'm going to do is just go through and duplicate it. Okay, so this first one down here, I'm just going to rename it and call it red. This one I'm going to call it green, and then I'll duplicate one more time and call this one blue. Okay, and I'll just collapse these. Okay, and I'm going to select this one, make it a blue color. Let's say something like this. I'll make this one a green color. Let's have a look. I could also go through and just hide that so I can see the element, and let's make this something like green like this. And you can see we've got our red color. Okay, so we've got all our colors that look really good, and all you need to do is basically, I'm going to zoom into the timeline. I could also just collapse these to see the animations, and I could just go through and just offset them. So I'm just going to drag this off a little bit, drag this off a little bit, and you'll be able to see I've got 3 animations playing inside the same line. So that's a fun way you could do that. If you wanted to see the other shapes on the way out as well, you probably want to just bring this over so that the blue one, or the top one, starts first, and then they animate back out individually like this. So let's play this through. Okay, so that's really cool. And based on the example that I showed you at the start, what you could do as well is just bring down the scale. So let's say I'll make this one 30, and I'll make this one 50, like that. And the other one can be 70, or you can make it a bit bigger if you want more space between there. And you can see quickly we've created this really nice looking animation You could use this on an Apple Watch, that kind of really nice style, or you could just have separate circles, you know, animating on your slides to really create really nice looking motion graphics. So hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed, and yeah, get started creating this animation and trying other types of animations inside CreateStudio. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a number counter. Cool. So it's really easy to do. I'm just going to delete this text layer over here and click on the text layer to add a new text layer. If I just bring this up, I'm just going to center it, and once you're happy with the color, with your text font, basically what you want to do is click on the drop down menu over here, and you'll see the option text effects. So simply click on the plus icon to add a text effect, and then on the drop down menu you want to select number counter. Okay, cool. So now what you want to do is basically set the start number and also the ending number. So we're going to go from 5 to 0, and it's going to count down from 5 to 0. So you can have whatever number you like. If you want to do a 60-second countdown timer, you can have 60 and then to 0. And then what you want to do is basically drag this out so that it's the duration of your time. So let's say 5 seconds, you want it to go all the way out like that. And if I click on the spacebar, hit the spacebar, hit play, you can see that we've got my number countdown nicely created like so. So that's how to quickly create a number counter inside CreateStudio. In the latest update inside CreateStudio, we've added some amazing new improvements as well as feature updates, and the first one is our text effects. So you would have seen the first effect inside the intro video with the typewriter. We've also added in a number counter effect as well as a random character effect, and I'll show you how they work in just a sec. And in the coming weeks and months, we're going to be adding in a whole bunch of extra text effects for you. Now we now also support right to left text, so if you have an Arabic language, you want to create a video in an Arabic language or a language that works from right to left, you can basically select your text and click on the settings panel and make sure to select right to left at the bottom of the settings to have your text go from right to left. Now I've also made a massive improvement in terms of the speed of our rendering, so now your videos will render 4 to 5 times faster. And along the same lines of rendering, we've also enabled the ability to export your videos with alpha transparency. So you can basically select an element or your video, render it with the alpha transparency, and you can also render it in MOV or WebM format so that you can bring those elements into other video editors and basically use them in your videos. And another cool update we're just adding in is we're adding in 100 animated icons into Studio Builder. So in the icons category, you'll see these flat icons that have been custom created in the same style as the Supreme animated characters. So you can use these to give you a lot more variety in terms of creating your explainer videos. So let's go into the software, and I'm going to show you how to use some of the features and how they work inside CreateStudio. Alright, so let me show you inside CreateStudio and how to add the text effects as well as the right to left text option, and also how to publish your videos with alpha transparency. So if you add a text layer just by clicking on the text layer over here, you can add your text, and I've just added some random text over here. And when you click on the drop down, you'll see another row which says text effects, okay? So you can still add animations to your text, and you can also add text effects. So if I click on the plus icon, and if I go and select typewriter, you'll be able to see now that the text basically types on like so. And as you can see, that it's a little bit fast, so what I'm going to do is just drag this out, and let's say I'll make it about 2 seconds long. You can see it's a much better pace for that amount of text. You'll also see that it basically animates from the right to the left. So if I go through and click on the rotation point and then select the left point over here, you'll be able to see now that the text animates from the left in just one kind of fluid motion, just like you would type in a form, like a text form. Okay, so this is how to add the typewriter effect. I'm just going to delete this text and add a new text layer. And what I'm going to do is click on the text and go to text effects and go to number counter. Okay, now this one works like so. So if you select your text, go to the text settings, you can basically put a starting property, so let's say 0, or if you want to start maybe at 50 for example, and then you can select the end value, so let's say 24,765. okay, so a massive number. I'm going to go through and just make it a little bit longer, maybe 3 seconds, and let's just preview this. So you can see it basically counts up to the exact number that you select. Okay, so you can go through obviously and change up the text fonts. You could use, really nice style like BBAS, and you can see it animates like so. Okay, so you can really use these in a lot of different ways. You could add like an arc animation and then have the percentage like 74 and then add the percentage label like so, and that's how you use the number counter effect. So let me show you also how to use the random character one. So if you add a text layer again, and for this text layer, let's just say this is cool like so. Okay, and I'll just bring it up and I'll center that. Let's go to the start like so, and what I'm going to do is just click on the drop down again, go to text effects and select random characters. Okay, so this basically animates in a way that, if I just preview this so you can see it, it has random characters appearing until it comes to your final text that you have set. Okay, so what you can do also is basically use different characters. So if you don't want to have alphabets like this, you could have your own characters. So you could use like special characters like this for example, and basically these are the characters that will appear before your final text appears. So let's just go through like this, like that. Okay, you could also just use numbers for example, if you want to just play around with numbers or things like that. So let's just play it like this. Okay, and you can be creative and create cool effects like that. So that's how you use the text effects. Also on the text settings options over here on the text panel, you can see that we've got the option to select right to left. So if I select on for this, you'll be able to see that the text, if I go through and just type something in, let's say for example hello, you can see that the text goes from right to left. So you've got the HELLO from right to left. Okay, now also what you can do is export your videos with alpha transparency. So if you have like an animated icon or something you wanted to, or a call to action button or things like that, you could basically go to publish, and over here you can select WebM with transparency or MOV with transparency, and it'll basically export your video without the background image or the background color. Okay, so make sure if you're going to use that option that you don't have a background image or you don't have a background shape that you've selected. You just want to have, you could have a background color like this and it won't export that background color, it will just have a transparent background. So those are the main updates inside CreateStudio, as well as the faster rendering you're going to see when you render your videos. We've also added in some extra updates which you'll be able to see in the updates panel inside your CreateStudio account. And things like, for example, the text to speech, we've also added the options now to add pauses to your text. So you can simply add the pause and equals to the amount of seconds based on the number that you specify. So I hope you enjoyed this update. If you like it, let us know in the comments below and add a like to this video. And yeah, we look forward to making amazing new improvements and new features in the coming weeks and months as we continue building out CreateStudio. Hey, it's Josh here from CreateStudio, and I'm really excited to share with you what's new in our latest release inside CreateStudio. So the first thing we've built is GIF support. So now you can import your own GIFs and basically add them to the canvas and the timeline and adjust the duration as long as you like, and the GIF will play on a seamless loop for as long as your track is on the timeline. You can now also duplicate projects, so simply click on the duplicate icon, which is next to the trash icon, and you can create a copy of your existing project. You can also now save projects as presets, and this is really going to speed up your workflow by simply selecting your project and making it into a preset. You can then import that exact project into other projects to really quickly use certain elements that you want to use in other projects by importing them as a preset. You can also now copy and paste motion presets. So instead of selecting a layer separately and then adding a preset and adding the same preset over and over again to different layers, what you can do is just add a preset to a layer and then use Command C or Control C if you're on a Windows to copy that preset. Then you can select each layer and basically use Command V or Control V and paste that exact motion preset onto your layer to really speed up your animating. We've also made a really exciting update, and that is a new media library which is next to the shape icon. You'll see a little image icon. Click on that and you've got things like devices, icons, illustrations, SVG objects, as well as real objects which look really good with 3D characters. And one of the exciting ones is our isometric scene builder. So you can basically drag and drop isometric objects and animate them really quickly to create really unique looking isometric scenes and videos inside CreateStudio, as well as different types of illustration packs. You can add Apple devices as well as SVG scene objects which you can change the colors and make really nice looking explainer styled backgrounds and elements that you can add onto your videos. And we've also added in some extra keyboard shortcuts, like things like Command 0, which will basically fit the canvas to the screen, as well as ones like Command Shift C, which will create a group really quickly using the selected layers. And you'll find out other keyboard shortcuts below this video on this post. So let's switch over to the app and I'll show you some of these updates inside the software. Alright, so I've just imported a GIF just to show you this, so I'll just drag and drop this on the canvas. And you can see, if I just zoom out a little bit more, that you can go through and drag this as long as you like and it'll play the GIF on a continual loop like that. Cool. So we've also got the option to save your projects as presets. So let's say, for example, you wanted to maybe just use this GIF and you wanted to save it as a preset, or if you had different kind of animated objects that you wanted to save and add them onto different elements, you could basically go onto the project settings, which are over here, and you'll see the option to make this a preset. So if you select yes and click on save, you can see I've saved it as funny GIF. Now what I can do, if I just delete this, and if I created a new project, I could go to my import preset and click on select preset, and you can see I've got funny GIF now. So if I add this, you can see it quickly adds that onto my project. So this is also helpful, for example, if you've got logos or different elements that you want to use globally on your projects. You could just add your logo and save it, and you can quickly add it onto your project as well. Great. So also we've got this option over here to see a media library. So we've got different things like devices. You could add a nice device onto your scene. We've got a whole bunch of icons and different styles you can see there as well. Also illustrations. So let me just show you a few like this. We've also got an isometric scene builder. So let's go through and add some of these objects. So I'm just going to grab an airplane. Let's add this building, this skyscraper, and let's have a look at what else should we add. Maybe we could add this truck and a tree, as well as maybe this building here as well. Cool. So what you can do is just position these as you like, resize them, kind of play around with it and make your unique scene. So make this a little bit smaller, maybe place this like that. And what we could do is I'm just going to position this plane off the screen like so, and I'm going to rename this one. I'll just call this one plane. And what I'm going to do is create an animation. So if I click on the plus icon over here and select position to animate the position, I've got my position here and the indicator is at this point. So I'm going to move the indicator over here, and I'm going to move the position of this plane. I'll maybe place it down over here, something like about there. And also I'm going to adjust the duration, maybe make it about 2 seconds long. And the last thing I want to do is adjust the easing. So instead of having it kind of go slower than fast, what I'm going to do is select both so that it continually goes the same speed. And I'm also going to select linear so that it just goes one fluid speed across. So it doesn't look like it's speeding up or slowing down, it's just going one separate speed. So let's also put this at the top so that it plays over top of everything, and click on play. So you've got a really nice looking animation. So what we could also do to make this look even more realistic is go to advanced, and you'll see we've got a shadow over here. So we could go through and let's add a shadow maybe about 500, and I'll maybe offset it back a little bit, and also add a little bit of a blur. And I'm just going to adjust the opacity and make it a little bit lower so it's just kind of subtle, but it adds another nice effect to this animation. So this was preview this. So this, yeah, how you can quickly create really nice looking scenes and using isometric objects. We've also got things like real objects. Let's go over here to real objects, and these are perfect for 3D characters. So let's go through, maybe want to grab, let's go grab a whiteboard, and yeah, just import that in here. Depending on the size of the element, it will take, you know, slower or faster in terms of importing, because we download these from the cloud. So yeah, so there's a nice whiteboard. What I could do is go to Studio, go to Characters, and I'm going to go grab Sally and just drag her over here. And you can see that these real objects really do look good with 3D characters. So I'm going to select her and go to Action and go to Point Left. And let's go to, yeah, maybe Add Action and maybe Thumbs Up. And what we could do is add some text. Let's go to the text layer, and I'll make this text black. And I'll just position it up like that. Okay, so if I just preview this, that's looking really, really cool. Yeah, and you can really build out your scenes. We're going to be adding in a whole bunch of other 3D objects as well, yeah, for you. So those are the real objects. We've also got things like scene objects as well as SVGs. So these look really good for explainer videos. So you've got these really nice looking designs. Some of the layers have multiple layers. Some of these SVGs. So this one's got like 2 layers, and you can adjust the colors of these objects as well. Yeah, so really build out really nice looking designed scenes. So those are the main updates inside CreateStudio. We've also got the keyboard shortcuts. So let's say, for example, you want to center and kind of fit this canvas like to your screen. What you can do is use Control or Command 0, and you can see it instantly snaps this canvas to, you know, a nice looking size. We've got things also like Command Shift C. So if I select multiple elements like this and go Command Shift C, you can see it creates it into a group of elements, and you can just double click on those groups to go into the group. And some other keyboard shortcuts that you'll be able to see below this post. So I hope you've enjoyed this update. If you have, make sure to leave a comment below. And also, if you could leave us a nice review, that would really be helpful for our company. And yeah, we're working on some really amazing new updates for our next release. So I hope you've enjoyed it. For now, try it out, and yeah, have fun creating.
You, your customers, your grandma, even your goldfish love to watch videos. Watching is easy, but making videos, well, that's another story. We're talking designs, keyframing, character rigging, compositions, pre-compositions. I mean, how come there isn't an easier way?
Yeah, how come there isn't an easier way?
Hey Cameron, don't bother asking Google. Google doesn't care. Use CreateStudio.
What's that?
CreateStudio. It's really easy to use video animation software that's gonna save you hours of time. And it'll make you look like a video expert, just like Chad.
Yeah, don't tell anyone, but I actually suck at animating.
But this makes me look like a damn guru. I can remove green screens, add intros, overlays, and call to actions.
That brings viewers closer to that sweet subscribe button.
Speaking of which, don't forget to smash that bell.
Cool, and what else can it create?
Well, anything you put your mind to.
Okay.
And I mean everything. Explainer videos, video ads, mobile stories, logo intros.
So it does it all?
Exactly. And you can do it all by simply dragging and dropping elements. Here, let me show you. Just create a project, import your own media, add text.
And images?
Yeah, even gorgeous little animated characters that help you explain complex ideas in a fun and engaging way. Ooh. And what I really love is that adding animation takes just a click. Going pro has never been so
simple.
Right. CreateStudio lets you get straight to the creating with beautiful designs, preset motions, customizable characters right at your fingertips.
Make better videos faster